Hey, triple threats. Hey, I'm just going to start this by saying you guys have been really inspiring me during office hours, um, especially on the last couple where you guys are bringing references kind of um, with really specific things that you like about those references. Like I think Julie on the last office hours brought one where she was really listening for the the percussion, and another one had like a really cool electric guitar and just various things. Um, and that got me thinking. This has been like a long path of getting some people in the group to really embrace the idea of like getting references and using references as you're mixing and producing and all sorts of things. And I feel like sometimes people maybe hesitate. I'm just kind of guessing a little bit. Maybe hesitate on the finding and using references of other artists' songs because they feel like then they're just copying. But that's really not what it's about. And I would never want anybody to just try um, to just copy, like, note for note, word for word, obviously. But as a sonic roadmap, it's really, really helpful. And I use it all the time. Um, and it really speeds up the process. So what I've done here is I've made a little template spreadsheet that you guys can use to keep track of these things that you like, because like as years go by, you're going to kind of forget what that one song was that had that cool thing. This is also like a really great tool, and I'm going to get into actually what it is, but this is a really great tool for making yourself think about what it is that you are referencing. And so uh what this is, let's see if I can get this happen. I'm going to move myself over here. This is a spreadsheet to just kind of keep track of songs that we like, and more specifically, individual instruments and sounds that we like within a certain song. So the actual song itself might not even matter. Um, but if we're writing a new song and we're like, man, this song's going to start with a beat or something, and I really want that first snare hit to just really catch somebody's ear. I just want that from that very first hit. That snare drum's got to have character, right? It just can't be some vanilla snare drum that I've pulled up or whatever. Whatever it is, whether you start it with bass guitar and you want that thing to have like ton of character. Um, this is kind of what that's for. So what I've done is I've got these first 6 columns that are color coded. So this is kind of about like the resources of whatever specific song we're referencing. So we've got song title, artist name, the genre, the URL, so we can quickly get to it, whether it's a Spotify link or YouTube or whatever. The time stamp in the song that shows the best example. Maybe there's like a breakdown where it just goes to that instrument or something like that. And in here, in this timestamp, you can put multiple timestamps. Like if you really like the bass guitar in the intro, but you also like the harmonies at the end or something like that, you can do whatever you want with this. This last part here, the notes. This is just where you can just put general thoughts about this. So in my example here, I was using John Mayer's Vultures, and then I put genre pop, and I put the link. And the thing that I really love about that song Vultures from John Mayer is the snare drum's super low and thuddy. And a lot of times you don't get to use a snare drum like that because that type of snare drum wouldn't cut through a mix of a big pop production. But because the arrangement of the song is so minimal, that snare drum really gets a chance to shine. And I just think that's super cool. And so that's what I kind of put in here. I love like how low and thuddy the snare is, and it would only work in a sparse song just to remind me of that point. Um, and then I put a little tip for myself of how I could get that sound. Um, if I wanted to try and get that sound, you can get it by taking a second snare drum head that's not on a snare drum, just the head, and turning it upside down and putting it on the snare and then hitting the snare like that. So just those types of notes, right? And then from here, I've put a bunch of different categories. So I've got overall mix, female, male vocal, bass guitar. You can see all these. I'm not going to read them all out loud. And these are just like starter things. You can add, whatever you want. I didn't even put like lyrics. Maybe there's like a lyrical theme or something about that, or it can be anything, right? Anything that you want to reference in a song. And so I just went through, and as I was thinking about John Mayer's Vulture, I was like, okay, the overall mix is a great, let's see here, is a great reference for a sparse pop band arrangement. The song itself is only like drums, electric guitar, bass guitar, and a little bit of organ with a male vocal. So it's like really sparse, and would be a great overall mix reference for balancing not many instruments and making it still sound full. And then so obviously John Mayer is a male vocal. I just put that it's a solid, clean pop male vocal reference, nothing super special about it, but if I was ever producing something where I just needed just a great sounding male lead vocal, like I could use that as a reference. And this is like kind of interesting. So on that recording of Vulture, I'm going to forget who the bass player is right now, but the bass player on it is legendary. He's just like a fantastic bass player. I'm not putting anything under bass guitar for this because the actual bass tone and the bass part isn't like super remarkable, right? So even though the guy's like a legend bass player and the tone is like perfectly fine, it's not anything that jumps out to me on this particular song. There's other songs where this bass player is playing, and I might make a note on those of like, oh man, they really featured his bass tone, or that he really got to shine with this type of bass tone on that, or the part is super cool that I want to reference. But I'm pointing that out because you really just want to like make the notes that are going to be super relevant to what you might need in the future. And then here I put acoustic guitar clean and then acoustic guitar with character. So there's one is like, if I just want like the absolute cleanest, most pristine acoustic guitar sound, what would be a good reference for that? And then if I wanted an acoustic guitar that sounds like Willie Nelson's guitar that's got a hole punched through it and it just got tons of character, might not be like the best pristine acoustic guitar sound, but it's got, it sounds super cool, then that can be like a different column. And I kind of do the same thing with the electric guitar and dirty guitar. Got one for bass, drum, snare, toms, piano. Yeah. And so I'm sharing this whole spreadsheet with you so you can kind of go through and see what my notes were on that particular Vulture song if you want. And again, like, you guys will have to, this is going to be a read only, so you'll have to go to like file, and then do file and then make a copy so that you guys can edit it, and that'll make a copy for yourself and you can do whatever you want. You won't be able to edit it until you do that. And then in terms of where to find it, if we go away from this and we go over to the Facebook Triple Threat page, and then we go to, let's get rid of that. And we go to files. Here, I'm going to move my face again. If we go to more and then files, and then we go down here to Triple Threat resources, and then we just click on that. Here's a whole document right here, and I put it right here. So this sonic reference template with the Google Spreadsheets link right there. All right, so hopefully you guys will use this, and I mean, even if you don't, not everybody is a spreadsheet person, but I'm hoping that when you listen to music and you're trying to think of your references, you'll start thinking specifically about what it is that you like and what things that you don't like, like what things like do you want to borrow from this and what things do you definitely want to not. And you can start combining things in interesting ways. And you'll notice that when I did I have a genre in that spreadsheet, you can you can think of it, you can sort things that you've liked from different genres, and you can do like interesting combinations, and that can kind of help inform what your production might sound like. All right, I'm going to stop here, but hopefully this is valuable. Let me know, and I'll see you next time.